I watch sunrise, waiting for this day to bring me more of paradise. Altitude, the tallest mountain, rests quietly while birds thread his hair. And the little kiskaddies, the little birds, yellow birds, they whisper to lovers, "Kiss me, dear, kiss me there." And as the rains come, I take off my clothes and offer myself to be drenched in the tears of joyful gods. And so many people ask me, why relocate? They are beholden to convenience, I to beauty. As noontime comes, I open my window. I stir a pot of something new that I'm learning to cook. I see flamboyance blooming. Oh, I see little monkeys grooming. And then a whiff of flowers that would cost too much for me in the non-state I used to live in. And I think about writing home and telling them how my curry is improving. And then I sit down and talk with friends. We call it liming. And we get inspired over things like rum, bake, and callaloo. As the sun begins its creep into the sea, I head west, so that way I can get my bacon shark, and I eat. And as the last of it flows away in the sea, I begin my journey back home. Of course, I stop at the nearest rum shop, take me a drink straight, because I like the taste of fire. And as I head on down the road, I just see a homeless man, and I give him all the change that I have. And I'm reminded of three things. Pain and poverty live everywhere. Mangoes can only thrive in some places. And it seems that my poetry lies somewhere between the mountains and the sea. I spent 30 years trying to find a place to live that I liked as much as I liked Washington, D.C. And so, there are plenty of places out there, but there are very few places I felt like were home, where people would just take you in and treat you like family real quick. That's why I lived in Trinidad so long. And then all of a sudden I found myself madly in love with a man from Boston. Boston. I'm sorry, it was great when we were there together and we were in love. And then after that I realized, oh, without love, man, this place not so good. It's cold. It's the only place where I felt like slush fell out of the sky. It wasn't snow, it was just slush. And I had never experienced America until then. In DC, I grew up, it was 80% black. So you were either black or you were white. And when I mean that in a real sense. So like if you were a brown Latino, you were black. If you were a light-skinned Latino, you were white. If you were like from Laos, you were black. If you were from northern China and your skin was light, you were white. It was very interesting when I got to a place and you could be like German and Irish and Italian and not like each other. See, you had to, if you were white in DC, you had to be together because there's only 20,000 of you. Right? And so now it's like, oh, this is what America is. It scared the shit out of me. Will you be able to edit that out? I'm sorry, I don't know. Okay. And so I was like, oh, but had I not lived there, then I would not have been able to live in Chicago. Right? So it's like all of these things All of these little catastrophes had to happen so I could have the miracles happen. So I moved to Chicago in 2002. The day of on the anniversary of the Chicago fire. I thought that was great and auspicious for me. October 8th. I find myself in my Penske truck, alone on the Skyway. So much construction that I am down to one lane, an 18-wheeler in the front, an 18-wheeler in the back, and did I care to mention, I just got my driver's license 3 months ago. The only other living thing in this van with me is Mr. Green, the plant that I stole from a roommate that I didn't like. And I talk the entire way, a cigarette dangling from my mouth as if I'm some kind of crazed old sailor, and I am cursing like such between tears that I cannot let fall because I have an 18-wheeler in the front, an 18-wheeler in the back, and a barricade that I feel is too close. I'm heading to a new place. All that is behind me is kind of beautiful, kind of ugly, but past. I am heading towards the middle of a country in which I've only lived on its edges. I'm a periphery kind of girl, and now I'm going dead center. Who does this at 34? This is a young woman's game. I need to get off this highway so I can turn back and go to all that is familiar. I don't know this place, but it has offered me a job, a place to live, and a car. So here I go. As the 18-wheeler moves to the side, I feel a little more ease. Breathing is coming back. I think I haven't breathed for 4 minutes. But I must have, because I'm not brain dead yet. My brain is still swirling from all the possibilities, all of what could lie ahead. Because this is the first place I lived where I know only 2 people. Yes, I visited an island 10 years ago, where I only knew 1 man and 1 woman. And that man, he brought me so much joy that I sold my bed to get to him. 3 days after arriving, I realized, not him. 2 days after that, I realized, even though I have a 2-week ticket for a place in paradise, I am heading home. And then I went to see a man in an art gallery. I did not know that I was going to visit him. I was going to visit the art. But his words were all over these paintings, these dancing women, these men playing saxophones on subways that did not exist in Trinidad, but in the place that I came from. So I wrote, and I wrote. And that night, he comes up to me and says, "Hey, girl, you ain't from around here." And I say, "No, I'm not. I'm from Washington, D.C. He says, what brings you here?" And I look, and with all the ruefulness I feel in my heart, I say, a Trinidadian man. He says, "Oh, we do that to women." I said, "Well, funny you should say so, because another thing you all do is you inspire poetry. Would you like to hear one that I've written, not knowing, for you?" He says, "Sure." And so I read the first line. "Hey, Mr. Painter Man, answer me this. When did you step off the wall and into my dreams?" And such the poem began, and such his eyes began to flutter the way that men's eyes begin to flutter when pretty young things have written poems for them. I am fully disdainful. And then he says, I like the rhythm of your voice. And I say, all men do, because I am unimpressed still. He says, I have a band, and I say, still feeling all of the hurt and shame that that other man who brought me here left me. And he says, would you like to perform tomorrow night? I said, no. There's a plane waiting for me to go home. It will pay $75 US. That's exactly the amount of money that it's going to cost for me to change my flight. Yes, I will perform, man. And 3 weeks later, I'm still performing in Trinidad. My life changed for the next 8 years. I started off hopeful, spent a little time rueful, and then had the best time of my life. Now I have paid the toll. I'm crossing fully into Chicago. I see lights like I've never seen before. I see the most beautiful skyline that ever created. Is that an ocean? That's a lake. It looks so big. It looks so expansive. It looks, let me keep my eyes straight, because there's something else waiting. If this is the beginning of my journey to Chicago, I must remember the hope. I must accept the ruefulness, because I know in this city of wind, I'm about to be changed. No. I can sing several notes, and then after that, all of them begin to crack, and like crystal that has been thrown up against a wall. So I trickery. I do a couple of lines, and people think that I can sing. So here we go. Louie, Louie, oh, oh, we gotta go now. Hey, Nigel, this here's Jane. I done called you 5 times and left messages on your voicemail. You say it's up there in the States and you earn enough money to make me your bride. If that is true, you need to come home and do so now. There's an old man who's tracking me. And my youth has grown old, ice cold in a hot place. Louie, Louie, I gotta go now. So Nigel, here's this. I want you to call your cousin Louis, the one that works for Bewee, and tell him to get you on a flight home to me. I was trying my best to be a woman for you, and not a woman for this other man. You talk real sweet all them years to me, eh? I just look for you, I just wait for you. I see your letters come, but I don't see you. If you say this is true, I suggest you do as I say. Click, click, click. Do, 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 do. No, this is Nigel Louis. I need you to do this for me now. I got to go home. Give me a ticket. There's a woman waiting for me. And if not, I'll just be the butt of a joke or a bad song. There's so many women waiting on so many islands, right? Including Manhattan. So, as me being from this very small town with a very big name, it is very interesting when people think of Washington, D.C., right? One of the first things they say, oh, did you meet the president? Yeah, right. We have like 500,000 voters. They don't care about D.C. We can't even get Congress to approve a budget for us. So speaking of such, my godfather is Mayor Marion Barry. And I said is Mayor Marion Barry, because even though we've had 5 mayors since him, He's mayor for life, basically. I know, right? So people ask, why did we vote a crackhead in? Right, we know. And I said, well, the main thing is you have to ask, who is he running against that a crackhead could win? Right? Okay. So, like, that becomes a whole issue there. But anyway, my little town. And so when people come, I don't give them, like, the tour of the mall. And when people say the mall, it's like, no, it's not a place with stores. It's a place with 16 free museums. So when you go up with 16 free museums, you don't understand you're supposed to pay to go into a museum. Which becomes very embarrassing when you go to other states and you kind of walk past that little place where you're supposed to pay. They're like, you have to pay. It's like, why do you pay for museums? So anyway, so here's my tour of Washington, D.C. for you. And of course, it doesn't exist like this anymore because we've had a great influx of dinks. And when you're a dual income, no kid family, then your city feels that they don't have to do much with the resources for children. But when I was growing up, it was a great place to be a kid. So here we go. Washington, D.C., circa 1986. This morning, I felt sick. My mother, being an educator, sat me down in front of the TV and said, watch something educational. So I did. The Space Shuttle Challenger was taking off with a teacher. And we were so excited. And between napkin and Robitussin, it blows up. Thank you, Mommy. That was very educational. No child can destroy a parent like a teenager. I walk out the house and I want to visit all that I know that is comfortable. I walk up to 16th Street, catch the bus heading south. If I take it all the way to the end, I will be able to wave at the White House. But what Washingtonian really does that? I stop off at Mount Pleasant because I want empanadas and I want to act like I speak Spanish. So I go. And there is Rodrigo. Ooh, he is so fine. And he is there to tell me that there's something going on at the Puerto Rican clubhouse. I say, hey, let's go now. And it's a time when you can walk down to DuPont Circle and pass the Jamaican embassy and all of the fabulous flames dressed in their best RuPaul drag. We look and we spy, and I know the kind of thigh that Rodrigo likes. And I pointed out and he said, yes, that's a man for me, huh? I said, yes, that's a man for you. We laugh and we sport ourselves down to the circle. And there I see the old men, and they are playing chess, taking the young men's money, those wearing suits and degrees and having resumes in hand, yet they still can't figure out how to keep a hold of their king, like these old men who've come from places so wicked that this crack-infested place seems like heaven. I take a little drink with Rodrigo, we go to the club, and we're sporting ourselves fine. It's midday, and the world is on its edge. Everyone's talking about the lost teacher. Everyone is talking about the look on Ronald Reagan's face. And I say, I don't want to hear any more of this. So then I head down U Street. This is a place that is so hot, and I don't mean in a good way, that I've got to tighten up my strut, lest I be thought for sale. This is the place that I go to Lee's Florist, and I pick up flowers for myself. I put one in my hair, the other bunch under my arm, and then I head on over to Ben's Chili Bowl. It's the only place in the world where you can get a vegetarian half smoke with vegetarian chili on top. It's delicious, filled with the grease that clearly has been cooked in hamburgers. Because that's how we do vegetarianism in 1986, Washington, D.C. I am a senior in high school, and so I walk myself strut first all the way to Howard University to see the men that I will be seeing next year. And they are gorgeous, and they are smart, and they are not looking at me because my mother wouldn't let me out the house if I didn't have on my school uniform. They know that I am something akin to jail, but I can look, and the artwork is amazing. But when I get tired of window shopping, then I go back up Georgia Avenue because I want to get my hair done. Natural Motion is a place where black women can get their hair done all on top or straight down the back. This is the day that I decide, let's cut it off. Who needs it anyway? Teachers can get blown up. Presidents can look shocked at the world. So I sit down and I hear the women talking, the women's talk. And word comes up about Lena Horne. She's moved to town and moved out again, and we are all wondering why. Speculation has it she fell in love with the doctor man, and the doctor man chose his wife instead of her. Everyone is scandalized and titillated. And the story builds and builds until a woman raises the bonnet of her dryer and says, ladies, you know that it's me. And all I can ask you is this. Wouldn't you stay with a man who chose you over Lena Horne's? Bonnet goes down, all of our faces go up, and we put in our place are quiet. Hair is sizzling. I am hot. Walk out and decide this is a day for dancing. 5 o'clock. Who's open? I know. I'll wait a little bit and head on down to a place we call Tracks. Slightly gay, totally fabulous. And there I am, fully dressed, new hair done. I've got heels that are so high, if I were to teeter a little bit to the left, I'd fall all the way to the right. And then a woman comes to me and says, you know, the higher the heel, the better the feel. These shoes are killing me. I'm too young to understand what she's really meaning, because I'm eyeing the man over there. And I know that he has no desire to be with me, but fantasies, well, that's what Washington, D.C. is built on. We're built on politicians' dreams, a nation's hopes, and a whole bunch of black folks who think themselves amazing, dying, but still amazing. And so we dance. We raise our hands to house music. We raise our hands to God, hopeful. And nothing like the world has ever seen DC to be. By the time I get home, my mother has a beautiful meal waiting for me. And I think, this is a day of dying. This is a day of glory. Let's shine. Come on in, darlings. There's some more seats. Sure. In case you don't know, I'm Toni Asante Lightfoot. I got a couple of more pieces. Yes. Maya Angelou. Thank you very much. I love Maya. So speaking of which, you know, she likes to sing. I will do a piece for my brother. This is 1982, September 1st. You don't know what love is. You don't know what love is until you've learned the meaning of the blues, until you've lost a love you didn't want to lose. You don't know what love is. My brother Michael was love. He was an angel, a dove, looked like such in his white shirt. And on that day in 1976, in his white straitjacket. He had come home after a night of trying to impress a girl and smoking weed laced with LSD. And he woke up and decided to smash all of the mirrors in the house because he couldn't stand anything that showed his reflection. My mother and I never saw his living eyes again. They were cast down or cast up, but they did not look at us after that. But my brother was love. And he told me that love has to do all that love requires. So yes, on the nights that tears would hit my pillow for my teenage angst, he would be there in the morning, smiling, asking me to play my recorder or something that he knew would bring a smile to my face, asking me to do the most ridiculous things so we both could laugh because he was a man whose demons didn't let him laugh. But he was love. He was all love. And so when those demons came to him and told him to do things that the sane him would never do, things like kill me, he went to a bridge named for a free-flying Duke of Jazz and turned it into a launch pad. That angel, that dove, flew until his head hit a rock in the creek. And with that action, he released so many demons in our family and gave his surviving brothers and sisters something else to live for, another way to live. Now, our living parents, they forgot that what they had to do still had to do with us, because when a parent loses a child, they lose a chunk of their mind. I know that now, but then who knew? And we went to church for solace, and they said that he was going to hell. Really? Because he had so much more Jesus in him than Judas. And he deserved a whole hell of a lot more heaven than many ministers and fathers. My brother Michael was love, and he knew all about love. And he did everything that love required. So now when a man tells me that he loves me, I go, really? Because you don't know what love is until you love and had to pay the cost until you loved a love and lost. You don't know what love is. So many years ago now, I met up with a man named Kalamu Yasalam, brother out of New Orleans, old-time radical, but an amazing poet and performer. And he performed this haiku, and I was like, wow, you can perform 17 syllables? Challenge! So I wrote and wrote and wrote until I came up with this little ditty called Lollipop Blues. And it is a haiku, performed like a good old jazz hit. He used to lick my, he used to lick my face. He used to lick my face, I thought it cute. He used to lick my face, I thought it cute to him. He used to lick my face, I thought it cute. To him, I was a sucker. Lollipop Blues. So as I was driving here and going down all these other streets that I shouldn't have been going down because I took a detour accident, I'm so glad that I did because I love Racine. I do. It's a great place, man. I was shocked. What really shocked me, because I'm not cultured enough, I guess, I didn't know how many, like, non-white people lived here. And they were like walking down the street and feeling comfortable. And that's a great sign to me, because I've lived in places where that's not true. So I want to thank Racine for opening up my eyes to a place where, who knows, I might come with a husband and a baby, because we're looking for some place outside of Chicago. So thank you, Racine. Thank you, Wisconsin. And hopefully the Republicans and the Democrats won't make you so crazy. Thank you for everything.